if we're already recording,
What?
we should hit the button.
What button?
This button.
Oh, the white button.
And the white button has been pushed.
Yes, it has. I've got button written in really big letters here in the book.
Hi, everybody. You're listening to the Long in the Boot podcast. I am your host, G. Long, joined by Deb.
Apparently I'm here, yes.
Across the way. She can't get away.
No.
Yep, I've let her out for the day.
Give me an hour.
So, what's been happening?
I guess a lot of stuff.
Like?
Life in general. Work, school, weather. We've had a lot of bad weather. But as far as the podcast and our listening community,
what about that?
We're doing a giveaway, a hat giveaway again.
Hat giveaway.
It was popular for us last time. We gave away 4 hats, 2 red, 2 black. This time I have only one of each, so it's kind of a different situation. You don't have as good odds. Well, unless you're shooting for the red hat, because apparently the red hat is getting no love.
Right, and we pull separately. So if you say black, you're in with a bunch of people right now.
Yes,
and if you say red,
if you say red right now,
man, you'd get it.
You're probably guaranteed to get you a hat. It'll show up in the mail. You don't have to do a darn thing.
You might even get an extra special treat with the hat.
He's making me send an extra special treat. Yes.
I am.
No, actually, he's not making me do anything. You people aren't fooled at all. I'm the one doing this. This is all on me.
Yeah,
She brought me on board for a reason. I'm going to give stuff away.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about this podcasting.
Yeah, no. You've been working on the website.
I have, and speaking of, it's www.longintheboot.com. I believe we decided it was going to be tripdub.longintheboot.com. And each Wednesday, well, probably Wednesday to Thursday, I'll put up the newest episode of the podcast if you don't want to have to,
go somewhere else to get it.
Push 2 buttons.
Yeah.
That's so difficult these days.
Okay.
2 buttons.
2? I just want to swipe.
You can always call at 337-502-9011. That number is available to you to call with show ideas. If you're a crafter and you'd like me to talk about you and maybe put up a link on the website, I will do that.
Because you have recently done that. Segue right into that.
I have, and I put up a Rowdy Tumbleweed and Bailey's Memorial Woodwork, and I also put up one for 100% chiropractic.
It has changed my life, and I'm not even going.
Right? I was having all kinds of problems with my neck and upper back, and just been just a few visits, and already I can feel a difference.
Yes, and the snoring level has decreased considerably.
Yeah, so, I'm not tossing and turning all night.
Sleep,
and I can sleep comfortably.
Yeah,
so thank you to Dr. James down there at 100% Chiropractic. You should go.
Somebody didn't contact me, but he recently, a former student recently put up his own Facebook page for his art, and I'm going to mention it because I've been watching him probably for the last year. Logan has been doing some acrylic work, and Lovely Pouring is what he's called his Facebook page. And so, again, he hasn't requested this. I'm just mentioning it because it's really interesting work. He does some really cool things. I made you watch the little video that he had posted recently, and would you agree it was very cool?
I was very impressed.
Yes, and so there you go. Shout out to Logan at Lovely Pouring. Go look at some of his art.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
Oh, actually. It was. Okay. So Facebook page up and going.
Yes.
Website. Oh, if you want the hat, you need to go to the Facebook page. I don't know I think I maybe trailed off and didn't finish that thought.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I'm sure it was my fault.
I'm sure it was. Like the post, tell us what you want, red or black, and share it.
That's right.
And we'll draw Wednesday when the podcast episode airs. We will post the winner on that link.
And as this podcast is going out, you're right smack dab in the middle of Teacher Appreciation Week.
You are.
If you haven't appreciated a teacher, appreciate a teacher. I believe cash is always appropriate.
No,
not cash.
I took that ethics training. You took that ethics training. They've been making us do that for years. We are better than politicians. We do not accept money. Oh, wait, did I say that?
Out loud.
Oh, I did. Oh.
We don't accept money? Well, we do accept money, but it has to filter through government hands before we get it.
Okay. Just, a thank you.
A thank you is plenty.
That's probably enough.
You know what?
I'm not encouraging that for me or anything.
I feel appreciated.
I do. I have a job. Thank you. I love the kids I work with.
I didn't get into this for anything other than to do what I'm doing.
All right.
So there you go. Anyway.
So thank a teacher. Mother's Day is coming up.
Yeah, we'll get to that towards the end. We gotta.
We'll save that for later. All right, I agree. So Pupcast Part 2.
Yes.
But we have been working on our a mission statement.
Oh, that's right.
I told G Long that we should probably have
the wife wants a mission statement.
Focus. Yeah, I've had to do that many times for school, and usually we flounder about just as I am and you are.
Flounder. That's me.
Yes, but we have some key concepts in mind, and recently we heard somebody on a show and felt like what he was saying just kind of fit in line with what we were hoping for our podcast and our community.
Right, yeah. We're just trying not to, I don't want to ever, I really want to stay away from the negative. Everything seems, I don't know, just negative lately.
Life can be very heavy.
And even look, nothing against murder podcasts. But man, there have been a lot of murders, and they really start to wear on me after a while.
And I can't listen to that anymore. No. Sometimes I do get in that mood, and I sit down and watch that or listen to that.
I'll do funny.
But yeah.
But even a political podcast, that really, it's negative, and it's all negative. And
except the inspiring story at the end of the news. They always do an inspiring story. Usually, I like that.
Well, you want to talk about the thing from the other
inspiring
night?
Story? Yeah.
The other night. For those of you who actually care, and even those that don't, the Academy Awards were on.
Yes.
And I don't care.
Their life has changed.
I don't care about the Academy Awards. I think it's weird to watch people congratulate themselves on being, really successful and rich and hand each other awards.
Yeah. But whatever, that's neither here nor there.
And none of it matters, except I caught a speech. Tyler Perry got a humanitarian award the other night, and it's because of his work for charities and stuff. He's done just an amazing amount of things. And he used to be, at one point, he was homeless in his own life.
Oh, yeah. If when we get done here, you should go look up Tyler Perry's life and read about his history.
He's an amazing individual.
He is.
And on the news, they kept playing part of his acceptance speech, but all it was a small little portion where he was thanking people. And they left out the best part at the very end.
Yeah, so we went and listened to the whole thing.
He talked about his mama for a minute, and they cut it off. But the thing at the end is kind of where I think I kind of want the podcast to be. And, I'll just
let Tyler say it.
Here you go.
My mother taught me to refuse hate. She taught me to refuse blanket judgment. And in this time, and with all of the internet and social media and algorithms and everything that wants us to think a certain way, the 24-hour news cycle, it is my hope that all of us would teach our kids, and not only to remember, just refuse hate. Don't hate anybody. I refuse to hate someone because they are Mexican or because they are black or white or LGBTQ. I refuse to hate someone because they are a police officer. I refuse to hate someone because they are Asian. I would hope that we would refuse hate. And I want to take this Jean Herschel Humanitarian Award and dedicate it to anyone who wants to stand in the middle. No matter what's around the walls, stand in the middle, because that's where healing happens. That's where conversation happens. That's where change happens. It happens in the middle. So anyone who wants to meet me in the middle, to refuse hate, to refuse blanket judgment, and to help lift someone's feet off the ground, this one is for you too. God bless you, and thank you, Academy. I appreciate it. Thank
you. So there you go. The thing at the middle, about being in the middle and how that's where conversation starts. That's kind of how I've always felt about
you shouldn't
politics
be afraid to talk about
and about
something.
Anything really, any ideas. And today it seems so weird because if you stand in the middle and say something, you end up getting attacked by both ends.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And
I, as a civics teacher, I used to try to explain that as best I could, that unfortunately the loudest, I always explained it as kind of a fence. And one end of the fence, you've got ultra left, and on the other side, you got ultra right. But as you move to the middle, the hill gets bigger and bigger. And unfortunately, though, the ends of the fence are the loudest part.
Yeah, because of media and
right. And
social.
It's tilted. It's twisted. There's bias. And
we're out of balance.
Yeah. And so in the middle. I kind of like being in the middle.
Yeah.
And I thought his speech about, not just refusing hate.
Yeah. Our like concept of recently, we've been talking about this and sharing this idea that we have hand-me-downs. We have racism that's been handed down, and we have sexism that's been handed down, and the new generation
it gets chipped away, and basically it's break the chain.
It does over time change, and it is changing.
It is changing, and it's not changing quickly.
You don't have to accept it from the past.
But if you're a young person and you think that change isn't happening, just know that when you get to closer to my age, you'll see that progress has been made all along, and it's a shame that so many people don't see it. And basically don't allow anybody in the middle to have a voice anymore. You're not allowed to be in the middle.
No. Well, and you're just not allowed to openly discuss things.
Or make a mistake in what you say. Or, there's all kinds of things. It's
all
just,
right, so,
enough of that.
So
let's talk about happy things like dogs.
I think, that wasn't an unhappy thing.
No, I guess
kind of the point, right? That we don't want to be negative. We always want to examine, look for the positive.
Accentuate the positive, I believe Dr. John said.
I think so. I think that's shared.
I would play that song if I was legally allowed to play it.
No, you're not doing that. Hey, you are getting some production, though.
Yeah, I'm working on a new updated version of the opening theme.
Sure, we should hear it in different genres.
Yeah, I think that. I'm kind of excited
it's like
about
a cover.
We'll see what happens.
You're getting a cover. All
I'm
right.
having a commission.
So animals.
Yeah, we talked, of course, to Deputy Krista West last podcast. Thank you, Krista. And we really enjoyed it, but we didn't get to the history of our love affair with dogs, especially.
Yeah, dogs especially, but no. We
cat lovers.
Yeah,
you're allowed to love cats.
We got a couple. We like our kitties.
I have one cat that's allowed to come indoors.
Yeah. Well,
out of the three,
Miss Kitty is the queen.
Well, the other two show up when they show up.
Yeah. Well, they have their lives. I don't want to know.
I don't want to know. It's their private life.
Actually, that's a lie, because watching cat videos apparently is good for your heart.
Oh, well.
Yes, lots of benefits. I mean, just Google that. Benefits of having a pet. I'm not going to read them to you, but there are number of positives.
Look, there's only one cat that matters. We all know it, and it's that little white cat who's making the snarky comment to the screaming blonde woman.
Oh, my God. That meme it does not get old for me.
It doesn't get old.
I like that.
All right.
Okay.
So
memes will bring us together.
Memes?
Yes.
Memes will bring us together.
They do. Bernie, the whole country after that inauguration, the Bernie memes, it united everyone.
For like a second and a half.
Well, then we need
mittens.
It
was mittens.
We need
mittens
a meme
brought
a
us
day.
together.
A meme a day.
There you go. There's the mission statement. A mitten for your ears.
All right. Well, let's move on.
We'll work on it.
Hey, locally, I saw a former student of ours. He is now an ICU nurse in Lafayette, actually, and amazing young man. We love him so. He had posted a story locally here in Lake Charles. They were bringing pets for staff and nurses at the hospital at Lake Charles Memorial, I think. Anyway, to help benefit their heart health and their stress levels, so they're under a great deal of stress. I think we should be able to bring our pets to work. I really love having my dog at work. That would be amazing.
Oh, to have the dog with us.
Yes,
yes. Absolutely.
So anyway, there's my vote for that.
And I'm sure there are stuffy people who would go, you can't be a teacher and have a dog in a classroom. Well, yeah, you can.
Yeah, I think you could. All right. Well, I'm sure there's litigation, though. So there's the negative side.
Well, anyway, our love of dogs.
Yes.
Let's turn.
Turn. You don't know what he just did there, but I do.
Yeah, it's coming up. But first, we're gonna talk about. I'm talking about dogs, not so much the domestication of dogs, but when did man and dog become more than just business partners? I guess because for the longest time,
when it became emotional.
When it became an emotional thing, when people had an attachment to a dog, and we're going to start with the earliest one that we know of so far,
all right.
Or maybe one older. This grave was actually discovered in 1914.
Okay,
and when they uncovered the grave in what is today Bonn, Germany, they found a man and a woman with jewelry and various other decorated objects, and they also found a dog.
All right.
With the two people. And this dates back 14,000 years ago, and they know for sure that it was a dog. They also know they were buried together, but they've also been examining through mitochondrial DNA the dog itself. And this is where the story gets interesting.
All right.
And what it is signs in the animal's teeth revealed it had distemper. And it looks as if it would have suffered for 5 to 6 weeks before dying.
Oh.
Okay. But that's the thing. Distemper, normally, if you have dogs that are outside, they're work dogs and they don't have an emotional attachment to you, you would separate that dog.
Yeah, you wouldn't be
and
with
kill
it. You wouldn't be next to it because you don't know what it has.
This dog was taken care of.
So
it wouldn't have lived.
So they've theorized then that they were emotionally bonded with that dog.
The dog would have needed large amounts of water and actually food to survive because burning up the distemper, it would actually eat more. But without care, the dog would not have survived.
As long as it did.
And that is kind of where they are for this.
All right. So at that point, they've decided that we have an emotional attachment.
Right. We keep them for pleasure as opposed to utility.
Well, I'm sure both.
Yeah. I think you do. If you're around animals, you get emotionally attached, or, well, most people do.
Most people. Otherwise, you might have other issues.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Exactly. If you
don't emotionally bond, then I'd start questioning.
But even farm animals, even people who grow up raising animals for food, will still develop a little bit of an emotional bond with certain animals that they know are
the circle of life,
destined for the plate.
Well, that is the circle.
Piglets are cute and delicious
and tasty. All right. So when we move forward in history.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of them.
And the way we bonded and used dogs and other creatures. Well,
the next one real quick with our puppy love isn't so much love, I don't think. It's actually a dog that was used for work.
Okay, well that makes sense.
It does. It makes sense. And you may not have ever heard of this dog. The weird thing is its Latin name is Vernipater cur.
All right. Well, there's a cur dog.
It's a cur. So that kind of dog. Anyway, it's a dog that did work, and it was known as a turnspit dog.
A turnspit. So food?
Well, it turns out that people in England and Scotland and Ireland, the islands, they liked meat roasted in front of a fire.
Well, who wouldn't?
And for a long time, early on, they used young boys would do that. They would be the turnspit boys.
Sure.
And they'd have them off to the side of these big fires, these big, huge fires. And they actually, I was reading, they would put up, this sounds so crazily dangerous. They would take hay bales and they would soak them with water.
Oh.
And put them up as a shield for the turnspit boy because the heat was so intense.
He couldn't stand there.
That they couldn't stay there for very long.
Okay, so then it was no longer practical to put young children over there.
Well, they still did it for a really long time.
Because then they had to breed these dogs into what they needed.
But then they came up with a unique idea, which was to think of it as a hamster wheel.
Oh, okay.
But they would attach it to a wall, and then they would have gears and a mechanism hooked to the spit to turn the meat. And these dogs would walk literally for hours.
Oh.
They worked hard. They weren't big.
No.
But they were bred specifically.
You can go online and see a picture of a turnspit dog.
Well, there's one. There's a museum in Wales.
Okay.
And don't ask me how it's pronounced, the place, because
I don't want to. It's okay.
Well, I'd say it wrong anyway. But there is a wooden display case. And in this wooden display case, there is some little flowers. And then there's this little stuffed dog. And he's not very big. He's not a big dog. A little bigger than like a full-grown, full-size dachshund.
All right.
And that's Whiskey.
Oh, that's his name?
That's his name.
All right. And he was a turnspit dog.
He was a
working dog. Well, we like working dogs. I mean,
But now Sundays, though, they got the day off.
Oh.
They did. They got to go to church.
So they worked 6 days a week and went to church.
Yeah, they did. They went to church and they laid on women's feet.
Huh.
Because they would want their feet to be warm.
Well, yeah.
Which I think is kind of
so
fun.
they were still working.
I suppose they were.
But their job was to sleep. Well, then Bella must have some of that quality. She likes to lay on.
Yeah, that's true. Well, they also later used them for the spinning jenny in people's houses, and they would use them to turn spindles for cloth.
Oh, okay.
The idea, this is the earliest that we know the wheel being placed in a home, on the wall.
Yeah.
And there's some great woodcuts from the 1800s where you just look in this kitchen and it's like, well, there's a dog up on the wall in a hamster cage. If you didn't know any better, it would really throw you off.
It would be a little disturbing. Yeah. Is that all right up there?
There was a story that I read that happened in the 1700s in Bath, England. The Bishop of Gloucester was giving a sermon, and he said, "And it was then that Ezekiel saw the wheel." And at the mention of the word wheel, several of the turnspit dogs who had been foot warmers ran for the door.
We're out.
So we may not know whether they liked it or not, but clearly the wheel was working.
They didn't want to go.
It's Sunday.
No, we're not working today. We don't do overtime. Sunday. Nice. All right. Germans and their dogs.
Well, yeah.
The Germans love their dogs.
Well, they do. They really do.
They do. I've lots of stories to come across. We've got German Shepherds today. We've got Dachshunds. I mean, we're fans of Doxies,
Yeah, well, you got to be.
Well, I didn't know until Casey came into our life.
We've had friends with Dachshunds for years.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But you don't really see their true qualities, I guess, until you, actually
good and bad
live with them. Yeah. Well, nobody's perfect.
They had turned out legs. Turnspit dogs had turned out legs like
Dachshunds. Okay, so, well, the Dachshunds were digging, going down those badger holes.
Turnspit dogs were walking in place, getting their steps in.
That's it. I don't know that they liked all that exercise.
Wait a minute.
What?
Hold on. Treadmill, small child. I think we have found a solution for charging up our cars in the future.
Well, no, we're just going to create in the future. We're just going to create robotic dogs.
Robotic children.
Yeah. That would be cleaner.
Put it in the book. That's a future podcast.
That would certainly be cleaner.
So anyway, that's the sad story of the
turnspit dog and
because they're extinct. That's the weird part.
Oh, they didn't continue. Well,
they didn't.
Technology was such that they didn't need somebody doing that service anymore. But you still need foot warmers.
And apparently they would develop a habit after being a turnspit dog for years and years. Doctors noticed that they would constantly turn. Like they'd find a spot and just turn in circles. Oh, well, dogs still do that. Yeah, but this was in particularly bad, apparently. It was a compulsive behavior that they couldn't stop. And it's even Shakespeare even mentioned a dog in Comedy of Errors, a curtailed dog fit only to run in a wheel. Oh, curtail means cut tail. They cut. Yeah, they cut their tails off. They clipped them. Do they do that to cur dogs too? Well, a curtailed dog is a dog with no tail. Yeah, no, I know that, but I mean the breed cur. Oh, I don't know. Huh. All right. Well, look it up. Look it up. Speaking of dachshunds too, 2020 was the first time in the Best in Show that a dachshund actually won. A dachshund from Gloucester named Maisie. Maisie. Good name. Yeah. Oh, it is. It's the name of the dog in World War Z also. The book, not the movie. And one final thing about turnspit dogs. Oh, yeah. I thought this was also very interesting. They were used in hotels in America. The habit came over. Okay. And big, giant hotels would use several dogs to turn these giant spits, right, in the kitchen. All right. And in the 1850s, the person that found, and I don't have the name right handy, but the founder of the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals saw how badly they were being treated by the workers. And that led to the founding of the Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Oh, okay. Was it up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area? Manhattan. Okay. Yeah, I knew it was up on the East Coast because that was where all those other ladies had started the adopting shelter stuff. Yeah. Because they needed that desperately in the cities. Well, the Victorian age and steam power got rid of the turnspit dogs, and they went extinct because apparently, this is a quote, they were quite ugly little dogs with a quite morose disposition. Well, I guess so. You make them work
I'd be morose and pretty bitchy myself.
Well, there you go.
God.
So why is that dog extinct? Because it had a bad attitude.
Well, you make me work that hard, I'm probably going to be having a bad attitude too. But okay, so I'm back to Maisie.
Before Maisie, one last thing.
No.
What do they think? What dog do you know what dog they think is actually closest related to the turnspit dog, even though they went extinct?
Chihuahua. No. Corgi.
Wow. Corgis.
Yes.
Yep. Corgis. So there you go.
Well, because it was short and low to the ground.
Well, no, you know what it is. Corgis have a good personality.
Yeah. Well, the Queen's always had a Corgi.
Right. So there you go.
And she's old.
And probably was around when they had
I wonder how many
spits.
Corgis the Queen has actually gone through in her lifetime.
Just one. She doesn't know. don't ruin it.
I don't know.
Okay, in reality, she's gone through 10, but she thinks it's the same dog. Ixnay on the odd day.
All right. Yeah, I saw that video. Good Lord. Okay, so yes, my favorite dachshund in literature is Maisie.
Tell me about Maisie.
World War Z.
That's right.
Yes, you remember. They did it. They left Maisie out of the movie, so you're going to have to go read the book. But in one of the interviews, they interview a character named Darnell. And Darnell is now running a retirement home for dogs who served in the U.S. Army's canine corps, and those are dogs that are employed to go out and help hunt zombies. So dachshunds are fantastic zombie hunters. They go down in the tunnels and, there
you go.
Yeah.
Zombies. So
they're going to help us.
If you
there
are concerned about the coming zombie apocalypse, get yourself a dachshund.
Or if you just like, literature. Well, I don't know if World War Z is literature.
Well,
it's a good story.
It's a good story that they used hardly any of. And they used one thing.
And they said Brad Pitt loved the book, and yet they didn't do the movie.
Fun fact:
it wasn't
the author of World War Z
yes.
is the son of Mel Brooks.
Yes,
anyway,
Max.
There you go. Yeah. So.
You know what? I bet most of our listeners
already knew that.
Yeah, already know that.
Well, if you knew that, well done. And if you didn't, it's cool. I just told you.
I'm going to give you credit for that. We actually have a somewhat local dog story as well. Or do you want to do the World War I? Because
we can talk about Booger real quick.
Okay, let's do Booger real quick. So the other night I'm watching an inspiring story. I don't know what I was watching, but the news came on and there was a news story that set Bella off.
It was out of Lufkin, Texas.
Yeah, so it's not quite the boot, but it's close because we're border people anyway. Yeah, we're close enough. And Bella she was terrified, ran and hid in her kennel during this story because the poor dog sounded so pitiful.
Booger was outside when the storm hit.
And we have had
It was that bad storm the other night that hit Texas.
In April, yeah.
Well, yeah, April.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We've just had storms for the whole
month.
I
know. Yeah. it's one of those bad. Really crappy storms that hit Texas recently. Booger got up inside a truck. It looked obviously like a 4-wheel drive. It looked like because they had to remove the front drive shaft, so I'm thinking 4-wheel drive, and got up inside above the shaft and then got over a plate.
Wedged himself in there.
He just could not get out of this predicament that he was in.
His owner, Grimes, finally said, I'm going to have to call 911. He said, I didn't want to call and waste people's time, but I just didn't know what else to do.
And because we're mean people, we're going to make you listen to what a dog in torment
sounds like.
Sit with his feet. Oh.
Hey, boy.
I'm trying to get his feet
What are you doing up in there?
Back. But his tail won't.
Yeah, he's in there. He's in the bind. I mean, he's okay. I had to try to fill my water bucket up.
There you go.
This what this is for? Yeah.
It's okay, boy. It's okay.
So, yeah, that set our dogs off.
Oh, yeah, it did. Poor Bella. She was sympathetic for that dog.
Dog in pain.
They had to sedate Booger and put a muzzle on him. And
They got him out, though. But they did. They had to drop the drive shaft from the truck.
Go watch the video. It's well worth it.
There's plenty of
and it has a happy ending. So
it does.
Yeah. People coming together to save a pet, to save a German Shepherd.
Booger was picked right out of that truck.
Oh, boo.
All right.
So we're moving forward.
We should do a couple You got one. I got one.
Well, actually, it was because of Bella. I guess that's a good move right into that. When I realized that we were going to go look at the shelter, I saw the picture and the description, and she was part Chihuahua and part Jack Russell Terrier. So I thought, well, maybe I need to go read up on these dogs. And I found some interesting stuff about Jack Russell Terriers, and it involves Hitler in World War I.
Wait a minute. Who is this Hitler you speak of?
Yeah, well, at this time, he really wasn't all that well known. He was just Adolf. And Adolf, actually, his name means wolf, noble wolf, when it's translated from Old High German. And Hitler really...
This was pre...
it was World War I.
World War I.
Yeah, he's just a soldier.
This is when he was a soldier and not the crazy psychotic that we are.
Well, I think it was developing, and perhaps the loss of his dog, his Jack Russell, may have caused it. There's been some...
Are you telling me that World War II may be because of a dog?
Because of a dog. Okay, so Hitler's first dog came to him when he was in the trenches in World War I. It was a little Jack Russell Terrier, small white one. He was a property of the English soldiers. Jack Russell Terriers were used in the trenches for 3 purposes, actually. They were messengers. So they deliver message through the trenches. They could go really quickly, low to the ground. They were mortar detectors because they could actually hear it coming before the soldiers. So if the dog ran, if the dog
takes off, you better follow.
You better follow him. And they were gas detectors because they could actually smell the drifting cloud of mustard gas or chlorine gas before the men could. So dog comes along, ends up accidentally chasing a rat into Hitler's trench.
Yeah, they had a rat problem.
Yeah, well, the dogs did that for fun, I guess, and help. I guess it's helping too. So that's a 4th job of the Jack Russell.
Meat.
Yeah, perhaps. Mm-hmm. And so Hitler took the dog, caught the dog, and made him his own. Called him Fuchsl, and that means little fox.
Good name.
So he had his dog Fuchsl for quite some time, a couple years. He said, I studied my dog Fuchsl. I used to watch him as if he'd been a man. It was crazy how fond I was of that beast. That's
there you go.
His own words. So in 2 years later, he and his regiment were on their way to France for a little rest, and a railroad official actually offered Hitler 200 marks for Fuchsl. Hitler refused. He says, you could not give me 200,000 marks and you wouldn't get him. But after the course of being at that train station, Fuchsl disappeared. So Hitler couldn't find the dog, realized his dog had been taken. He said, I was desperate. The swine who stole my dog doesn't know what he did to me.
Dun, dun,
so then move forward in time, and he starts with the German Shepherds, right? And then he becomes obsessed with this idea that German Shepherds are the closest to wolves, which is what his name means. So he thinks that he's all about signs and symbols, and he thinks that this means something.
He liked those Alsatians.
Yeah, yes. So he starts getting interested in the breeding of purebred German Shepherds. And we know he had like 3, I think, over the course of his life. Blonda was, of course, his favorite. But in the end, he said about a month before he committed suicide, he wrote, the more I know people, the more I love dogs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
And that was, of course, in hindsight there, he'd already lived through everything. But,
he also said, maybe I shouldn't have killed all of these people.
But that
maybe
man shouldn't have taken my dog.
Dogs.
He could have done that. Absolutely. Hey, they also World War I.
Oh, well.
We've got a hero dog.
Yeah, boy, I'll tell you what.
We've got a hero.
Well, before I do the World War I dog, I want to go way back.
What?
It's a military dog.
Oh, okay. I was going to say we'd already gone back.
And his name is Donogh.
Donogh?
Donogh.
It's very Irish, Scottish.
Well, this dog he was a bloodhound, and he belonged to Robert the Bruce.
Oh,
yes.
Interesting.
Enemies of Robert used his dog to find him in hiding, but were surprised when the dog turned on them when they tried to attack his master. Because of the dog's intervention, the men were driven off, and Robert the Bruce survived and got away, and later became King of Scotland.
Oh,
yeah, that's right.
Fulfilled destiny.
Yeah, there you go. And one of his descendants was King George III. So King George III was king during the American Revolution. So maybe if Robert the Bruce had been killed, Scotland would have never gotten its freedom.
Oh.
And who knows how things might have
How
turned
history would have changed.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you
Dogs.
go.
Changing lives.
Changing lives
Changing
every day.
Fulfilling destinies.
The most famous dog, probably at least
Another World War
historically,
One.
it is World War I, and it is Sergeant Stubby. And get that right, it's
Yeah.
Sergeant Stubby.
He earned that.
The most decorated dog of World War I. He was a pit bull mix. So you pit bull haters, he was a pit bull mix. He wandered onto the Yale campus while members of the 102nd Infantry were training and just hung out.
Oh.
And then he started going out with them for drills. And eventually one of them noticed that he would lift his paw up to his head.
Oh, and salute.
Like saluting. So he won the heart of everybody, but especially Private J. Robert Conroy, who adopted the dog and named him Stubby.
Stubby.
Because he had a stubby tail. And
another curtail.
And not only that, but then smuggled him to France.
Oh.
He smuggled him where he lived in the trenches with the soldiers.
Yes.
It was there that Stubby was exposed to mustard gas. After his gassing, they created for him a special gas mask to fit a dog.
To fit on him. Oh, cool.
After that, they used him for warning of poison gas attacks. That was his big job. He also learned how to locate wounded soldiers at night in no man's land, because after an attack, there'd be all these people who were alive. They just couldn't move, and they'd get shot down if they tried
to get up.
And Stubby would go and find them and often try to drag them.
Or that would at least alert
spot
somebody.
them.
Yeah.
He became a sergeant because he was apparently on patrol and he spotted
out on night watch.
Yeah, he spotted someone who'd looked out of place, and it turned out to be a German who was trying to pass as a soldier. And he attacked the man.
Cool.
And when other reinforcements arrived, they realized he was in fact a German spy, and Stubby was given the rank of sergeant.
I wonder if his owner got the check. Did he get pay? Did he get the sergeant pay?
He served for 18 months.
Okay.
He participated in 17 battles.
Wow.
He survived many wounds. And of course, much more than that, he provided that special
comfort
boost
and
to his fellow soldiers.
Yeah, because it's another
That's
member
Sergeant
of your
Stubby.
family.
You can read up on Sergeant Stubby. He is everywhere. If you go and start researching famous dogs, Stubby takes it. I mean, he's just boom. It's Stubby. He
had something special.
They have video of him as well.
Oh, nice.
That you can find.
All right. So we're giving you tasks. You need to read World War Z. You need to go watch the video of Booger being saved in Lufkin by the firefighters. What else? You need to Google the pic of Hitler and his dog back when Hitler still had a normal mustache and he looked like all the other guys. He had to differentiate himself, I guess, besides just
he had
ideology.
one of those really big, giant, bushy mustaches.
Well, it was of the time. It looked like everybody else.
Yeah, but what happened?
Ideology. He just wanted to separate himself from the crowd.
Yeah, that little.
Or the fact that somebody stole his dog just pissed him off so bad that.
That would be something.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
He got out of balance.
Yeah. Somebody stole his dog.
Yeah.
And
I could see some anger issues stemming from that.
Somebody steals your dog, and you're going to go and cause the death of 250 million people.
You need to get on Facebook and claim somebody else's dog.
Oh, don't go there. Don't go there.
That was a great story.
It was a great story.
Right,
we shall not go there.
We won't go there?
We will
All
not
right.
go there.
Well, the Longville Ragley people know what we're talking about.
Hey, you know what we're talking about. All right.
I don't even know names.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a fun thread to follow.
So what else you got?
What else did I have? Not really anything else. I think we've gotten most in of what we were trying to get in.
Well, I think so. There's a couple others. I mean,
you had a final story.
Well, I did.
Yeah.
I don't want to get to that quite yet.
Okay.
Because I was looking at, again, just a few, to name a few. Everybody's heard of Rin Tin Tin.
Sure.
Well, Rin Tin Tin saved.
Well, no, not everybody. Glenn.
Well, that's true. Rin Tin Tin was a German Shepherd, incredibly popular. actually at one point was the highest rated actor in Hollywood,
Not surprising.
as far as, bringing in money for the cost. But apparently he was so popular, his movies were so popular that Warner Brothers, which was about to go bankrupt during the 1920s, they nicknamed him the Mortgage Lifter.
Oh, wow. He saved the studio.
The dog who saved Hollywood.
This has been nothing but a dog saving humans.
He received 50,000 fan letters a month.
Oh, my goodness.
And more votes than the best actor nominee for the Oscars.
Excellent.
And
people had good taste back then.
And then later, Rin Tin Tin passed away, and they had Rin Tin Tin 3.
Oh,
his descendant, who was a recruiting symbol for the Canine Corps during World War II. Oh. So he went out and encouraged other dogs to join up.
To buy bonds.
To buy bonds.
Join the war effort.
And one other one, there's so many, but one other, Balto. I thought Balto was a cartoon dog. I didn't realize Balto was real.
Yeah, I think that's all I got reference to.
Balto was a sled dog that saved the people of Nome, Alaska. 650 miles from Anchorage to Nome to get, or it was actually from Nome to Anchorage to get medicine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. When they got there, the final team that was supposed to go didn't. Balto and his team went back. And
did the trip both ways?
Yep. And that's where the Iditarod comes from. It's
to
in
see
memory
if they could duplicate.
of Balto. Yeah. And finally,
what was his breed? He was one of the.
Actually, the picture of Balto, he looks like kind of a cross between he's a mutt, but he's got some husky in him for sure. But there's some other dog in him too. It's a good story. Stop that.
I'm sorry.
And then Buddy was one of the first seeing eye dogs. Her name was Buddy, but they taught the dog to help a blind person get around.
Yeah.
And because of that, they then brought that program over to the United States from Germany and created the Seeing Eye, which was the first training facility in America
for those dogs.
To train dogs.
Yeah, they're really doing that now. They're looking at like prescribing.
I don't know that we would have made it without dogs.
No,
I really don't think dogs. They deserve a lot. They've man, you can't. Oh, what's another one? Herbert Hoover, President Herbert Hoover was kind of hated. Now later he was hated because they blamed him for the Depression, but when he got elected in 1928, he wasn't going to be. People didn't like him.
Yeah.
Pictures never showed him smiling.
He was a stern man.
He was a stern man. He was going to lose that election. And somebody got a picture of him with his dog. And lo and behold, in that picture, big old smile on his face.
Aww.
And the American people went, "Aww."
Exactly. That's what we all do.
And they voted him into office.
And said if he loves his dog, it must be okay.
And of course, because of that, he helped not do anything during the Great Depression. Yeah. So you know what? Your dog named King Tut, yeah, thanks, dog, gave us a Great Depression.
Yeah, well, you can't be winners all the time.
All right, so that's just a quick history of some of our friends because we just didn't have the time on our last podcast. No. But I've got one final story.
Yeah, you have to wrap it up.
And it's from my home state of Missouri, and it goes back in the 1800s. And basically what happened was you had a farmer that had a dog that was killed by a neighbor. The neighbor, who turned out to be his brother-in-law when I researched the story a little bit, which makes it really crappy. But it happened in Warrensburg, Missouri. And his name was Old Drum. And Old Drum, his owner, was so heartbroken over the shooting of his dog that he sued his neighbor. And this, not only did he sue.
Usually dogs are property and they don't.
Right.
Yeah.
But his argument was loss of companionship.
Ah.
Right.
Well, that's valid.
And he actually won, but then it was appealed by the neighbor.
Okay. Yeah.
The neighbor shot the dog because it was on his property. Anyway, it actually went to the Supreme Court of Missouri, the Missouri Supreme Court, where he was given his just due, and he got $50.
Well, I guess that's something. It indicates a win.
Yeah, and it proved that the dog, just because the dog is property, doesn't mean there's not value other than that.
So he just claimed companionship, and that was. I mean,
but it was the speech.
Oh, okay.
That his attorney George Vest gave, and it's famous. and it's known as the eulogy of the dog. If you go to Warrensburg, Missouri, there is a statue of Old Drum, and the eulogy is there. And it's making the point that when it comes to dogs, they are more than just dogs. And so I thought it was worth sharing.
All right.
Okay. The eulogy of the dog. And I'll paraphrase where necessary for time. Gentlemen of the jury, the best friend a man has in the world may turn against him and become his enemy. His son or daughter, whom he has reared with loving care, may prove ungrateful. Those who are nearest and dearest to us, those whom we trust with our happiness and our good name, may become traitors to the faith. The money that a man has, he may lose. It flies away from him perhaps when he needs it most. A man's reputation may be sacrificed in a moment of ill-considered action. The people who are prone to fall on their knees to do us honor when success is with us may be the first to throw the stone of malice when failure settles upon our heads. The one absolutely unselfish friend that a man can have in this selfish world, the one that never deserts him, the one that never proves ungrateful or treacherous, is the dog. Gentlemen of the jury, a man's dog stands by him in prosperity and in poverty. In health and in sickness, he will sleep on the cold ground when the winds blow and the snow drives fiercely, only if he can be near his master's side. He will kiss the hand that has no food. He will lick the wounds and sores that come encounter with the roughness of the world. He guards the sleep of his pauper master as if he were in fact a prince. When all other friends desert, he remains. When riches take wings and reputation falls, he is constant in his love as the sun is in its journey through the heavens. If fortune drives the master forth and outcast into the world, friendless and homeless, the faithful dog asks no higher privilege than that of accompanying him to guard him against the danger and to fight against his enemies. And when the last scene of all comes and death takes his master in its embrace and his body is laid in the cold ground, no matter if all other friends pursue their way, there by his graveside will the noble dog be found, his head between his paws and his eyes sad but open, in alert watchfulness, faithful and true, even unto death. There you go.
Forever and ever. Peace and balance to you all.
Y'all have a good week. We will see you and talk to you on the next Long in the Boot podcast.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mom's Day to all the moms.